Our European adventure continues today, and goodness me, has it got off to a good start. Hello and welcome to part 142 of It's Coming Home. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have a Europa League game away against Sporting Lisbon, probably going to be the hardest game of the entire group. And then we're at home against Millwall in the Premier League. Since you were last with me, things had been going awesomely. Since last episode, we'd just won every game, including a 6-0 win against AEK Athens in the Europa League. It all got a little bit of a sour turn at the end, though, when we lost at home to Blackburn in the Premier League. Our Europa League group looks like this. And although I've earmarked Sporting Lisbon as likely to be the hardest game so far, they've actually lost both of their opening two games. So we could end up finding ourselves 9 points and 5 points clear at the top of the group at the halfway point, which would be awesome. This is what the Premier League looks like. Not quite so awesome, but as I said in yesterday's video, I will be very happy this season with a mid-table finish. And mid-table is exactly where we are at the moment. 9th place after 9 games, 13 points on the board, and Augustin Kano is the top scorer in the Premier League, joint with good old Kevin Williamson that we know all about. But Kano has he's done a bit of a Mick Powell. He's now considered a leading player for most Premier League sides. So Mick Powell has been talking about him in the media. He's currently on 6 goals from his first 9 starts, 3 goals from 2 starts in the Europa League. It's a bit of a revelation, really. How do you turn from those 2 seasons to that? If he can keep this form up all year, we've got a proper striker on our hands, and we had him all along. And all he needed was his mate from Las Palmas to come and play up front with him. And he hasn't even had that for the last 4 or 5 games because he's been injured. So it's been Dragovic and Kano, and I think just having his buddy knocking around has cheered him up no end. Let's get on with the Sporting Lisbon game, though, and this is the team they're putting out there to try and secure a victory. We're having a little bit of a mini injury crisis. As you can see, Sands is having to play despite not really being fit. He's got a little bit of a niggling injury. Akamo's still injured. Kandamil still injured as well. It's not that there's lots and lots of players injured. It's just that key positions, left back, for example, and we are down to bare bones up front as well, with just the youngster Cheraldini available as a striker, although he is a wonder kid. So it's not the worst thing in the world to have a wonder kid available to come in and play up front once you start losing some of your other strikers. So we're going with Saidi in goal, a back four of Sands, Van der Horst, Lee and Riviere, with Thompson at the base of the midfield, Jimenez and Bishop in the middle of midfield, and Chernyshov in behind Dragovic and Kano. I'm hoping to see another awesome performance from Kano, but as you can see from the average ratings, everyone in the squad really is having a very good season so far, with the exception of Jimenez, who is just really struggling to adapt to both life in the Premier League and playing in central midfield when he wants to be a defensive midfielder. He is playing in central midfield again today, but he's actually kind of been rotating with Thompson as the defensive midfielder for most of the time between now and the last episode, and I think that's probably where his future lies. We've still got Curti available, but forget about anyone else in midfield. Carl Bishop, aged 31, almost left the club this summer but decided not to and is still our captain, has just scored an absolute screamer away against Sporting Lisbon. Look at the state of this. No human has the right to kick a football that hard. It's just silly, but kick it that hard he did, and as it stands, it shows that I've read this group completely wrong. It's almost as if we're 16 years in the future and I've not kept up to date with European football in that time, because Poznan and Athens, and bear in mind this is the Athens team we beat 6-0, seem to be better than Sporting Lisbon, which I didn't expect. But what do I know? Dragovic now with a very clever cross. Do you even call that a cross to Chernyshov? It's a lovely goal. And Dragovic showing some real football intelligence here. Rather than just lumping it back over in the air, he's picked his man out and just slid it through the eye of the needle into his path. It's such an easy finish for Chernyshov. All of the credit there has to go to Dragovic. And it was just a sensational pass. And we're 2-0 up. And Dragovic and Chernyshov are looking like 2 of the best January signings we've ever had. They're proper players, a little bit older than our normal signings. The fact we were able to bring them in from Inter Milan and Barcelona shows the calibre of playing we're dealing with. And we're a good side now. Dragovic is in behind and he makes it 3-0. And this is easy. We're away from home against Sporting Lisbon. What on earth has gone on at Sporting Lisbon for them to be bottom of the group on 0 points after 3 games? I thought they would be the team that we'd find it most difficult to make it past, but it's starting to look like we're going to comfortably cruise through our group. I am planning on showing you the AEK Athens away game for Mrs. Wearmouth Spaghetti Bolognese, but as it stands at the moment, we might already be qualified for the next round. We might be able to have a second helping of garlic bread with our spaghetti, which, quite frankly, I am not averse to. Let's, just don't get complacent. Keep doing what you're doing. We're 3-0 up at half time. Let's not really worry about anything. We've had a very, very good first half. Keep that up. We probably need to be looking in terms of taking Cesar Sands off now, who is carrying a knock and just doesn't need to be on the pitch. So we'll take him off in the next few minutes. Kano plays it over to Chernyshov, who's made the run, and Chernyshov, I was convinced was going to score then, but hits it just a little bit wide, a little bit high maybe, and we do need to make that Sands substitution. There's just no reason to keep him on the pitch and keep risking him. We've got Daniel Collins who can come on and play at left back at a push. You might not remember Daniel Collins. Daniel Collins is a 19-year-old Argentinian under-20 international that we signed from Leyton Orient last summer, and he made his Premier League debut fairly recently. He played in the League Cup game as well. He's also played in the Europa League previously. He's pushing for a regular spot in and around this squad, but in a world where we've got a lot of our left-back options out on loan, the lad we had last season plus Ardin, they're both out on loan. Collins is probably our 5th or 6th choice centre-back. He's getting some game time at left-back, and it's not going to do his development any harm at all. I can't remember the name of the left-back from last year. What was his name? Not the actual one who played, the youngster, the young English one that we signed from Sheffield United. I can remember where we bought him from, just can't remember his name. Dragovic tries to get the crossover, doesn't get there, but Chernyshov intercepts, and there is Kano. A 10th goal of the season for Kano. It's now 4-0, and poor old Sporting Lisbon, can we get 6 in the Europa League for the second match in succession after really struggling to get past Poznan in the last episode? But we are scoring some goals in this year's Europa League, and I think we're yet to concede one. I think we are 12 goals scored, 0 conceded. We look like a Champions League team playing in the Europa League, which is, it's not a bad look. I could get on board with that, and it forces me to entertain silly ideas like it might be possible to win this tournament, and I have to keep reminding myself that all of the Champions League clubs, well, not all of them, but a lot of big Champions League clubs will come and spoil our fun after Christmas when they get knocked out of the Champions League and come and just dominate this competition. So I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself, but it's difficult not to dream of a future in which we win this tournament when we're playing so well in it at the moment. Jimenez getting to finish the game, actually playing in his own position at the defensive midfielder now. And we've seemed to have taken our foot off the pedal a little bit as this game has gone on, which is fine. 4-0 away from home at Sporting Lisbon. I'd have taken that. I'd have taken 1-0. It'd be nice to grab a 5th though. And there's Van der Laan, who's just come on at right back, finds Collins, who's completely out of position at left back, but managed to get the crossover. At the second time of asking, Kano's in again, and I thought Kano was going to grab number 11 for the season. Did I just see there's only 92 home fans who've made the trip to Sporting Lisbon? We need to do like a fan day or something. We've got to get some more. 92 of us have turned up in Sporting. Not even 100 people. Can't even fill an aeroplane. Goodness me. What have we got to do to get some more fans? It's going to be the thing that holds us back as the save progresses. I'm trying to remember with Nuneaton last year at what point we started to get a decent fan base. I don't remember. Someone will have to let me know down in the comments. Did it ever really happen, or did we just kind of force things through sheer force of will? I don't remember. Van der Laan with the cross ends up hitting the crossbar, and that is that. Sporting Lisbon 0, home 4. That has to go down as one of the great nights in the history of this still very young football club. Now, hopefully, we can go and repeat that trick again against Millwall in the Premier League and get back to winning ways there. Well, this is interesting. I didn't even mention it because there's been so many takeover attempts that have gone wrong in the last 18 months or so that it didn't even seem worth mentioning. But we do have a new owner, the third owner in the history of the football club. So Stuart Brown, the man who bought the club from Serenok Nuhu way back when, has sold up and been replaced by Harpenden-based investor Mark McCann, leader of a consortium. It's not all his money. McCann revealed that he was delighted by the deal and indicated he wanted to make a difference for fans at Stadium MK. That troubles me. We have got our own ground, Mark. If you want to build us a new ground, that'd be lovely. So what's happening here? New chairman Mark McCann has thanked me for my patience. Informs you money has been invested in developing the training ground and that a further £32.5 million has been pumped into the club's coffers. Nice. Loads of directors have left the club, been replaced by loads of new directors. No names are recognised. The new board would like to point out they'll only judge you on transfers and matches starting from the date they took over as well. That's always nice to hear. 16 years into my tenure as manager of a club who I've brought up from the 8th tier. That's what you want to hear on your first day. Don't worry though, Kev. We'll only judge you on what you've done from right now. That last 16 years, that doesn't matter anymore. If you finish 12th this year, that'll be an underperformance and we'll sack you. Transfer embargo has been lifted. And what does this actually do to the finances? So we've now got a bunch of money in the bank, which should, if I can press the right button, should fix the financial projection problems. It does. That's awesome. In fact, we're projected to have a continually increasing balance. Have they cleared our transfer debt? No. There's a few quid on the never there, but it looks like it fits into the projection fine. So we don't have a major financial issue. I'm interested in what they mean about the training facilities thing, because we'd already been working on the training facilities. So do they just do it magically? No, that's stuff we'd already done. So they don't seem to be building any. Should we have a chat with the new man? I mean, we can start here. It's not going to get us anywhere. Can we build a new stadium? No, it's not our current home, is it? It's Milton Keynes' home. Rubbish. Let's try something that's actually doable then. So we want improved training facilities. Yes. And we want improved youth facilities. You don't want that. I mean, this is what the Patreon people are paying for. I urge you to reconsider. I've persuaded him. I like Ben Phillips. Was that the name? That wasn't the name. So I'm not actually getting to talk to the chairman anymore. At least I'm very secure. Now let's go play Millwall. Just one change for the Millwall game then, as Candermill is fit enough to start. I mean, he's only going to do 60 minutes. I should probably put a left back on the bench in light of that. Sands can play. He failed his fitness test despite playing the last game. Yikes. Where's the left back who came on in the last match? Why can't I find him? Where's he gone? What was his name? Daniel Collins. Need to get you on the bench, son, because you're going to be coming on in the second half. So you can come on the bench for Turner. You can even play at centre back if you need to, just like Turner does. So let's get that team submitted. Hopefully we don't break Candermill the way apparently we've broken Sands. Because, although to be fair, we've got the League Cup coming up in the next match against Leyton Orient. It doesn't really matter if neither of them can play in that. But let's focus on the Millwall match first, because we do need a win to keep us in this top half of the table contention with the new man in now. What we don't want to do is go on a poor run of form and make him start questioning whether he needs to meddle and bring in someone younger, because I'm quite old in game now. What am I? Mid-50s? I must be pushing mid-50s. How far in the future are we? That's not that old for a Football Manager, is it? I started young. I've got at least another 10 or 15 years in me yet, if need be. Hopefully we don't need another 10 or 15 years in order to become a European force. But there's every chance we might. I don't know how easy that next step is going to be to take. Lee plays it over to Candermill, who hasn't really done anything yet, but that's a lovely pass to Riviere. There's Kano, and that's just excellent from Kano. I love the fact that he's done a Mick Powell and just turned himself into one of the Premier League's top strikers. The challenge now is going to be keeping hold of him. But it's the cross from Riviere. It's another low cross, which seems to be our new speciality. Kano takes it beautifully to just leave his man for dead and tucks it past the keeper. Goal number 11 of the season now for Kano. And as it stands, that pushes us back up to 9th place, level on points with Chelsea, Liverpool, who are both above us, and right in the mix for European qualification again, which is splendid. Let's not get complacent in this second half. We need to take Candamill off by the hour mark. I'd ideally like a second goal. The moment we get a second goal, he comes off immediately. Dragovic has now picked up a knock as well. We're going to make 2 changes on the hour mark. I think we've got Cheraldini down on the bench who can come on for Dragovic, but I just don't want to risk further injury. This is the problem when you have this Europa League season. You think you've built a big enough squad to cope with it, and then you realise fairly quickly you just haven't, and your players start dropping like flies because they're playing too much football. Chernyshov is shattered as well. He needs to come off for Manu, and we're going to have made all our changes with 20 minutes to go. So fingers crossed we don't now pick up any further knocks. But if we can scrape a 1-0 victory when we're on, we're shattered. We need a rest. Is there an international break coming up? There's not. I've already said it's Leyton Orient. None of this lot are going to play against Leyton Orient. It's going to be a rest for these players. That's for sure. Manu to Bishop. Bishop plays it out to. Why is Van der Horst all the way up there? I don't understand why Van der Horst, our centre back, is overlapping our left back. This troubles me because I do wonder who we've got actually defending. Oh, what do you know? Nobody. Good job. We've got one of the best goalkeepers in the world in the shape of £53 million Saidi, who, the more he makes saves like that, the more I realise, worth every penny. I always knew he was going to be worth every penny. I'm glad I didn't buy one of those rubbish £7 million better options that people were telling me about at the time. There is no better goalkeeper than Saidi, and he will be in goal for us when we win the Champions League. Hopefully. I mean, obviously there's always the worry that if it takes us 5 or 6 years, he'll go and play for Real Madrid or someone. But fingers crossed, we can grow with him. Right, we just need to hold on for these last 5 minutes, and then we can celebrate an excellent episode. Cheraldini, not seen anything from him at all, so I don't know that he's going to be someone that we pursue at the end of his loan. I do like having a wonder kid striker knocking around, but this is 3 or 4 little substitute appearances he's made now, which I know isn't enough to judge him on. He will get a game against Leyton Orient, and that's rubbish. That is rubbish. If they concede a goal in the 92nd minute, demand more. Where are Millwall in the league? Down in a relegation battle. And this is European hangover, isn't it? This is why your first season in Europe is always a pesky challenge, because stuff like this happens as a result of just a squad that's been stretched very thin. No. Yeah, I agree with the commentary at the bottom there. Holme won't believe that they've only drawn that. I don't really believe it. Tell him it wasn't good enough, but really it's just a demonstration that we need more players. We need a bigger squad. So, good job we've got a rich new chairman in who can help us out with that. Right, as mentioned yesterday, I wanted to show you all the away games in the Europa League, so that's what we're going to be back with tomorrow. AEK Athens away from home. Fingers crossed we will have booked our spot in the knockout rounds by then, and we'll have a look at one of the league games either side of it as well, as we continue our mission to just be a bit of a nothing team in the league and see what we can do in the Europa League. That's the plan for the year. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.